Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the Geekday podcast, and I wanted to get you halfway through.
Thank you. The only podcast where we've been doing it for 3 or 4 weeks, and we still fuck it up.
But that's our charm, Alex.
And we have such, at least on my end, I have so many minimal things I have to do. Robert's the one that works his ass off to get this shit going.
And I was like, I forgot to screw in the bulb.
I forgot to shut the lights, the 2 lights. Shit.
Well, welcome back, guys. You have a
mic check.
I did do mic check.
No,
you didn't hear me go test.
I did. I was fucking with the camera. Sorry,
okay. No, we're good. Hey, don't worry. If we sound bad, let us know. We'll be able to hear you. Actually, let me pull the chat.
Yeah, I was about to say. Look at all the chat.
All the chat.
All the chat. Oh, 2 people. Does that mean 2 people are watching?
Hell yeah, brother.
Is one of them us?
Possibly. But let us know. Today, you only get me and Alex today. Yeah, I mean, it was really fun having other people. How it should be.
How the OG Geekday crew.
But it was really fun having everyone else on last time. We want to be able to do that more often. But
yes.
Alex, how's your week, bro? What you been doing?
My week has been busy.
Busy,
to say the least.
All right.
Been running around working. A lot of I feel like. Because last episode we only talked about Endgame. You know, it was a big just spoiler cast, really. And coming into this episode, there's a lot of shit that we have to catch up on.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of stuff that happened. And there's a lot of, I guess, more important things that have happened.
Definitely.
And we're not even going to get to half of them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that happens, and it's cool though being a nerd because you're like, oh, all this cool shit's coming out, all this cool information, all this new stuff's coming out. But if you're doing a podcast, the bad part is like you can't allot 4 hours to talking about every single part of it.
It's like, oh man, I can't talk about XYZ today because I have to talk about how bad Sonic looks.
Yeah. Oh no, we can't talk about the new Mutants. Oh man.
Oh darn it.
Darn it.
But we will a little bit.
Was that in there?
That's one of the things. It's okay. We'll sneak it in there somewhere. Yeah. I have a thing for it, so don't worry.
Okay,
we're all good. But yeah, hey guys. So we're gonna start talking about something that I was super excited about, which was the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, bro.
Yes.
I woke up really early. I don't remember why, and the first thing that was on my Twitter feed was that I woke up. What?
You said I woke up and I was like, wake up.
Wake up.
You wanted to. Sorry, go ahead.
And yeah, like literally the first thing that was on my feed was the new Spider-Man trailer, and I was like,
yes.
Holy shit! And like, I saw other places they were like, oh, like this is the first time that there's ever been like a spoiler warning before a trailer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I mean, like, okay, cool. I mean, what are they really going to talk about? And immediately it hits you with like. It shows you, Spider-Man's like, oh man, I see his face everywhere. And
yeah,
you see
like immediately
picture.
It's like, oh, Tony Stark is dead.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, we're gonna hit that immediately, okay.
Yeah.
And you see him crying, and him and Happy's like, I miss him too. It's like he wouldn't have done it if he didn't know that you were gonna be here to pick up his slack and stuff like that.
Remember when we said we should have the trailers playing when we talk about them?
I'll put up the trailer right now.
Yeah, perfect. No, but just while you're bringing that, just to recap it, it was very interesting. Again, because I mean they stated this before that it was going to happen immediately after Infinity War.
Yeah,
it said it was
minutes after.
Yeah, so it's very it's very interesting to see that wasn't an exaggeration. That was literally straight up immediate.
Yeah,
like there was no breathing room. There was no anything, which is cool because I like that there wasn't like necessarily like a big time lapse or we're in a completely different time or any of that stuff that I would have been worried about regularly.
Definitely.
And additionally, they also can't really have a time jump because Avengers
they
itself
had a huge time jump.
A big fucking time jump.
Had a 5-year time jump.
Yeah. So
now it's 2023. And then you see all this stuff happening right here. Like you see him in the Iron Spider suit, and he's like, the police officer right here is like, "Oh, you're new Spider-Man? No, I can't be. I'm too busy doing your job."
Yeah.
And like that's like stuff I
love that banter.
Definitely.
That Spider-Man banter. And I that's one of the things I think that they really got well in the first Spider-Man film is it felt like that young, that banter, that kind of what's that word? That like that innocence.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it continues, even though he's been through like one of the most traumatic experiences you probably.
He literally died.
Yeah. It's dope that they're continuing that that feeling. It kind of reminds me of Shazam. Like where it's kind of family friendly, kind of like lighthearted, but
there's still that.
There's a gravitas, there's a weight there.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But how did you feel about it, Robert, when you saw it?
You know me, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I have the Spider-Man tattoo. I mean, I have a Spider-Man tattoo, so I would hope so. Was he?
You have a Spider-Man tattoo.
Oh my God!
Watch out, ladies! Get some napkins. Wipe up the floor beneath you.
But yeah, I mean, like
I was mopping like you should have.
I hate you. Yeah. You went from sexual to sexist.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Nailed it. Yeah, so I was super excited about this. I know when I first saw the first one, I was like, oh, this is an interesting way. You know, like they're bringing Mysterio in. He's probably going to be the bad guy. He's using the Molten Man. He's using the Hydro Man. All the sort of stuff that's, I believe, are special effects or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just like to like make him think. And then here they throw a curveball at you. They're like, oh, I could use someone like you from my world. And then Peter's like, your world. And then they start talking about the multiverse, which immediately I was like, yo, I hope they're doing the multiverse. But then I remember that it's Mysterio, and all he does is just lie.
Yeah, so, I think it was a great trailer recap as far as, what we've seen and kind of potentially what we know about Mysterio, because in general, Mysterio is just known for being a very, similar to Loki in a way.
Yeah.
Very mischievous, very much, what's that word? Very,
conniving?
I think so. Yeah. Like he's always got a scheme going on. There's always something going on other than what you're seeing from Mysterio.
Definitely.
Literally and figuratively. So one of the cool things that I like is that they're kind of subverting expectations here.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first saw the trailer, I think everybody who knows anything about Spider-Man went, "Oh, clearly, all of these elementals are fake."
Yeah.
And we're seeing them like this for now, but they're gonna be illusions from Mysterio. Spider-Man's gonna have to fight Mysterio.
Definitely.
That's what everybody immediately was like. That's what's going on. I like that they're adding in the multiverse stuff. I like that they're adding in the Tony Stark angle of it. Now, if I may,
you may
kind of speculate what I feel is happening. I think he is genuinely from a different Earth.
You think so?
I think he is, because I think it's a total waste. To me, I see that as like the Mandarin thing, where like if they'd be like, "Oh, other Earths," but it was all a lie. I think he is from another Earth. But I think he's lying what his intentions are on our Earth or what happened. I think maybe he was a bad guy or something on his Earth. He comes to our Earth to try to change that. Similar to, I don't know if you're familiar with Booster Gold in DC.
I'm not.
He's a superhero from the future. It's not a great superhero.
All right.
So he comes to the past. Because he's like, oh, I can be a great superhero in the past, because I know what's gonna happen.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what the vibe I'm hoping they go for. At least that's what I'm seeing here. Mainly because I really don't want them to kind of because they're playing it up like, oh, Tony Stark made the sacrifice, and now it's opened us up to the multiverse.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a great way for them to introduce the X-Men, Fantastic Four.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
It's a great way to have Tobey Maguire show up in one of these movies and have some Spider-Verse thing. I mean, at this point, like if I would have said that like a month ago, I'd be like, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
But with how much fan service was in Endgame,
so much fan service,
like it's more tangible to me now. Like it makes all the sense in the world that they can possibly go that route. So I feel like it'll be like that. Like he is lying. I think these are illusions, but I think he actually will be from another Earth. And I think what's gonna happen is Spider-Man is gonna be looking for that, because you see all these scenes where he's talking to Mysterio, where he's sitting on the rooftop with Mysterio. Yeah. He's confiding in Mysterio. He's trying to make Mysterio his new Tony Stark.
Yeah, like his new mentor.
Yeah, because he's always looking for a father figure after Uncle Ben. He found that in Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Stark's not here anymore. Now he's got to find it again. And I think he's going to get burned by Mysterio. And he's gonna learn that maybe he doesn't need a father figure, or he's going to not feel so good about Nick Fury because Nick Fury's like a hard ass. but in the end he'll find out like, oh, but Nick Fury was the one that was actually looking after me or some shit. I mean, that's all my speculation just from what I got from the trailer. It could be none of that. It could be all that. But that was one of the things I really liked about the trailer. There's so much in it with what seems like such a simple plot that there's so much you can actually dive into.
Definitely, yeah. It's like it seems like it's something super. I don't say super small, but small-ish. You know what I'm saying? But it has like huge ramifications to what could happen. Like I would love to see at the an end credit scene, because this is the last movie of Phase 3. Pardon me. I would love for an end credit scene that if like Mysterio is from an alternate dimension or like from the multiverse or whatever, I would love like maybe like a portal lever to open up real quick, and right in between like one of those things, you see a patch come through, and they're like, "What the fuck's coming?" Your patch picks it up, and it's either a 4 or an X.
Ooh,
and I would be like,
dope.
that'd be really cool. So it's like, oh shit, like. So they've been a thing the entire time, which is in a different dimension.
Exactly, because then you take care of the whole like, well, all of a sudden you're gonna introduce them.
Yeah, like, oh, there's mutants now. Like, no, I mean, like, it's super cool to be like, oh, like, awesome, like they were there, and then like it would bring a really cool thing like later on, so you can start making movies in the alternate, like in the second, like the alternate universe, and then have an X-Men versus Avengers movie, and like they come like there's this huge event, maybe Galactus, maybe King the Conqueror comes in. And is like, hey, like, by the way, there's some evil people in the other place. That manipulates them and comes in.
Hi, Grandma. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Grandma. How you doing? And like you really get to see like it play out where they get pitted against each other, and you see like Captain Marvel go down or whatever. And, like I don't know. It'd be really cool. And then like to see these different team up movies. Like it'd be really cool to see like Spider-Man and like Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't happen because it's R-rated. I mean, But I mean, like.
But it's just those possibilities are now there.
Definitely.
Just because of this multiverse.
Yeah. So I mean, what would you like besides X-Men and Fantastic Four? Do you think anything else that you would see like be really major coming out of this? Like, what would you want to see besides those two things?
Honestly, like as cool as all those other things are, I want to see those little like those little nods and everything if they can. But my thing is overall, I want to see a good Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
You know, that's where my focus is. I think they accomplished that with Homecoming. I was a little bit not stale, but I was a little bit not okay with how much they seemed to rely on Iron Man in the first Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
I mean, I know he wasn't in there a whole lot, but I feel like he should have never stepped in like he did on the boat.
Okay, so you felt like it should have been a sink or swim sort of movie.
Exactly.
Okay.
I didn't like that. And I get that was the point because the whole movie, he had like a safety net. Then at the end, when the cards are on the table, he had to do it himself.
Yeah.
I get that. I just didn't like the safety net being one of the biggest characters in the MCU. Like, so I want them to overall make a great Spider-Man film. I care more about the relationships that he's going to have with Ned and Michelle, MJ.
Yeah.
And
which I'm more excited about now.
I just don't like. I just think she could have been another character. I don't think they had to shoehorn that she was MJ.
Yeah, she's like, my friends call me MJ. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like literally just like, god damn, like real.
So yeah, but I'm more excited about that than anything else. And I'm just excited to see how that Tony Stark relationship is going to affect Peter throughout the movie.
One of the more interesting things that I saw was that he's wearing Tony Stark's glasses in there. Like,
yes.
I was like, yo, that's super cool. Like,
Willie's my brother. He's a big nerd about all this. He actually texted me and told me that he believes that because those are his tech glasses.
Yeah.
He believes that's the moment where Peter puts on the tech glasses and realizes maybe he's like seeing an elemental and he's seeing that it's not there. Like, so that's what Willie was telling me. Like, what if it wasn't there? And like maybe there's like a machine he sees, but he doesn't see the actual elemental. Because like he has that surprised look on his face. Maybe that's the moment where he realizes it.
I know a lot of people have been saying that. Oh, what if that's when? What if like Tony becomes his AI? Which I wouldn't like that because I really like Karen a lot.
I do like Karen, and I also he just fucking died.
Yeah,
like,
you don't need to shoo him in.
Let him die. Let him die. You know.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine? I think it would be dumb if any studio were to have one of their biggest characters sacrifice themselves in a big battle that should change the universe. And all of a sudden, the next movie, he's just back out of nowhere. Like, that's dumb. That's stupid. No one would ever do that.
And then they did it.
That'd be fucking dumb.
And then we'll see on June 10th or something like that when it comes out or whatever.
Yeah.
But now that we're still talking about MCU, we had a little conversation before. We wanted to debate our different sort of rankings for the MCU.
Yes.
So I have yours up right now. I'm gonna bring it up right here, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because it's interesting. So at number 1, you have Infinity War. That's mine. My bad.
Oh, was it?
No, it's mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have
Infinity War. I was about to say I did not have Infinity War.
No, there it is. All
right. Let me go from the bottom.
Okay,
and then I'll go to the top. Okay.
We're kind of blocking it, but we'll make sure to tell you what's.
Yeah. So at the bottom, 22, because there's 22 altogether, is Doctor Strange.
Which is crazy to me because
really
you have Thor: The Dark World above Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
Go
ahead.
Doctor Strange is the most bullshit cookie cutter superhero movie I've seen ever. It's watch The Incredible Hulk, watch Iron Man, watch Thor 1, watch Ant-Man, and you've seen Doctor Strange. You've already seen the whole thing. It's just like, no, I got sorcerer fingers. Nobody cares. You dumbass. Nobody gives a shit. The only reason that movie was good at all was because
visual effects.
Well, no, I was gonna say Benedict Cumberbatch. He's great as that character.
Definitely.
I think
great
personally,
casting.
He came into his own in that character in Infinity War.
I can see that.
Which is such a shame because he has very little screen time in that movie.
For me, it's a huge jump from like where he is in Doctor Strange's own movie, and then immediately into Infinity War. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the Sorcerer Supreme now. Like, I know everything."
Yeah, well, I don't think he's the Sorcerer Supreme yet. I don't think he ever claims he's the Sorcerer Supreme.
What's her the chosen one? What's her name?
The ancient one.
The ancient one.
She says that in Endgame, and he goes, but he goes, he's supposed to be the best of us. I don't think he's there yet.
Oh, okay, so he's not the Sorcerer
because
Supreme.
He never himself says he's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Okay.
He does say he's a sorcerer of like the arcane arts or the dark arts or some shit. Anyway, so yeah, Doctor Strange just don't like it. It's the only Marvel movie I saw and I went, don't gotta do it again. I've never watched Doctor Strange again.
Really?
I've never watched it again. I hated it. It's probably been playing at places in the background.
I think I've seen it twice.
Okay. See? It's just not a movie I'm gonna revisit. So going into 21, I have Ant-Man and the Wasp. I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's not. It was such a filler movie, and it felt like
a
filler.
Definitely.
It felt like filler to me, and that's because some of these movies are filler movies. They just are. That was the only one that I watched where I was like, shit, this is a filler movie. Like, I felt like it was a filler movie.
Yeah, but it's especially right after Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, God, like, I mean, I know, like, I felt kind of about Captain Marvel and stuff like that, but when I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, I was like, man, we just had Infinity War, and, like, we have to watch XYZ. I love Paul Rudd. I think he does amazing. Eventually, Lily really comes into her own. But
the biggest thing in that movie is the humor.
Yeah, definitely.
But I blame the director Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed did the first Ant-Man. But who was the director he took over for again? It was
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright had already had all that laid out. Peyton Reed came up and shot it. So I give all that credit to Edgar Wright.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, I love the first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
There's that scene that's in both of those movies where it's the Hispanic guy. What's his name?
Oh, Luis.
Yeah. He does the talking through like the field. That is such an Edgar Wright shot sort of thing to do. Which I was like,
that's why it doesn't work as well in the second movie.
You think so? Because
I don't think it worked well in the second movie.
I was just like, wow. I was like, man, imagine if Edgar Wright actually got this movie, but he doesn't like franchise movies, so it's definitely like whatever. Anyways, continue.
So going to number 20, I'll just go through these next few fast. Guardians Volume 2, it's a movie. It was a filler movie. I thought it was funny. I thought the only thing that I thought came out of it that I really liked was Mantis.
Okay.
Other than that, I think you could have skipped it. I mean, the Yondu stuff is really great, but it's like the next movie on the list. The Yondu stuff is great, but it's unfortunately in a not a great movie. I feel. And then you go into 19. Again, Thor: The Dark World. It's a filler film. It's right off the coattails of the first Avengers. I didn't care too much about it. It's a filler movie. The sole purpose is to introduce the Ether, which is the reality stone. And then one of the best parts of that movie is Loki's fake death. But unfortunately, it's in not a great movie.
Yeah.
So I want the record to reflect that number 18 is The Incredible Hulk. And when I sent it to Robert, I wrote The Incredible Hulk, and he just put Hulk here.
It wouldn't fit.
I'm smart, and he's a dumbass.
What's the difference? There's another Hulk.
This is Ang Lee's Hulk.
I hate you.
Because it's Hulk. I was talking about The Incredible Hulk. Anyway.
What's wrong with the MCU Hulk?
I'll flow with it. So Ang Lee's Hulk. Didn't really like. No. The Incredible Hulk. It's great. It's very same. I mean, I feel like everyone saw the script for Iron Man. I'm sorry. Technically, Ant-Man came first before Iron Man.
Did it really?
That's why the script for Ant-Man seems very similar to Iron Man, because it was first and they based it off Iron Man.
Wow, I did not.
Yeah. So anyway, the Hulk, same thing. It's a fun origin thing. There's some great action. I really never go back to rewatch it. Now these next movies, these are like my bottom of the bottom. These next movies are all movies that I really do like.
Okay. But they're like.
I'll watch all these movies over and over.
Okay.
These the last like what is it, 5 or whatever. I'm like, I don't need them. So Iron Man 2 is a lot more fun than I think people give it credit for. I love it. I think it does have issues, but it's a series of amazing scenes directed by is it Mark Favreau? Jon Favreau. Sorry, Jon Favreau.
Is number 2 directed by Jon Favreau?
Yeah, they both are.
Okay.
The first 2 are. The only one that wasn't was the third.
Black.
Yeah, you can tell. Which I'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But so I think it's a lot better than people give credit for. So Iron Man 2 is my 17. So 16 is Captain Marvel. It was a cool origin movie. I definitely had fun with it. I'm probably not going to watch it again. I know my girlfriend Christina loved it. So I'll probably watch it again with her. But like, it was good. It wasn't bad. I don't get why it got so much hate, but it's not great. Age of Ultron, the only Avengers movie that's like not like in like my top like 5 or 6. It's fun. It's a lot more fun than people give it credit for.
I hated Age of Ultron.
Really?
We'll get to that though.
I really enjoy it. I enjoy it. I think it's really fun. Now we're going to Ant-Man. The first Ant-Man. Love the first Ant-Man. I think it's underrated. I think people don't give it the credit it deserves. I think it's great. Paul Rudd is an amazing Ant-Man, and it's a great way to introduce all those characters in the Ant-Man universe. Civil War is 13. Now Civil War seems really low because when I watched Civil War, I loved Civil War. I was
Definitely.
Like, this is so dope. In retrospect, Civil War to me was a lot more. What's the word I always use? It's a lot more spectacle than it is story.
It's more. I think it's more fan service. Not to say fan service. It's more like. I guess spectacle is the right word. Yeah.
To me, it's more spectacle, and on top of that, it's not the spectacle I wanted. I would have preferred if they would have either waited on this to have more heroes in it, because as it was, they didn't have enough heroes. They had to introduce heroes in that movie to have enough, and like I would have preferred for them to wait or bite the bullet and like figure out how you're going to shove the defenders in there. I feel like that would have been the perfect opportunity for that, but whatever.
Was it done? Were they all introduced by then?
I think so.
Really?
I think so. Iron Man 3. I think in going back, it's great. It's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good as the other films on this list, but I think it's really, really good. It's a lot better than like I have it above movies like Civil War, Ant-Man, and Captain Marvel. I think it's really good. I think people shit on it for no reason. Go back and watch it again if you're one of the people who shit on it. I think you'll find a newer perspective for it, because I think the reason it was hated right after Avengers came out is because it had the unfortunate task of being the next movie.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I realize I spelled this word wrong right now, but yikes.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. It's great. It's really fun. The first out-of-the-box Marvel film, absolutely love it. Think it's great. The first Thor movie, I adore the first Thor movie.
Do you really?
I think it's so good. The only thing I don't like is you're always looking at everything like this. What is
are they
the Dutch angles?
Dutch angles. There
Dutch
you go,
angles, everything's like that. But I do like it. I think it's a great introduction to Thor. I think it's his best they could have done for introducing him to the audience.
No.
Captain America First Avenger is the same thing. I think it's the best way they could have introduced that character. I love the aesthetic of it. I love how they built up that world of the 40s. I think it fits perfectly. I love that movie. It just has like this charm to it. Like I'll go back and watch that movie over and over. Thor Ragnarok is the first time where I really cared about Thor. I was like,
definitely, yeah.
I love Thor. As much as I love Thor 1, this was the first Thor movie where I was like, Thor is given character here. You know what I mean? And just the story that leads into Infinity War is just absolutely amazing. 7 is Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it's a great, after the introduction of Civil War, it's a great continuation of that. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie ever made, but I think for this universe, it's the absolute best Spider-Man they could have done.
What would be your number 1 Spider-Man movie?
Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 still?
Spider-Man 2 still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even above?
Into the Spider-Verse is right under it.
I was going to say,
Like
even
right
above
under it,
Spider-Verse?
right under Infinity War is number 6. Love Infinity War. I think it's really great. I think it's such a cohesive, amazing movie. The culmination of all these movies up to that point, absolutely fantastic. Now, these next last 5 are my top 5. Black Panther comes in at number 5. Love Black Panther. Like, as much as some people kind of shit on it and say it's overrated, I think it's so great, not just for what it does culturally, but just the movie itself. And it's the only one of these movies, I would argue the only movie, because even the first Iron Man ties in. Even though this technically does tie into Civil War, you could watch this movie by yourself. And this could be the only Marvel movie you ever see. You're not lost. You don't need anything else. It stands on its own 2 feet more than any of these other movies can. You know? And then we go to Avengers Endgame. We've talked about it last week. I really did enjoy Endgame after reflecting on it more and everything. I think it's one of the absolute best Marvel films, and it just has a ridiculous amount of fan service. And that's something I love in a movie. Number 3 is Iron Man, the first movie of the MCU. Love it. Still holds up to this day. Still looks really fucking good.
Definitely.
It looks amazing. You can't say that about a lot of films. Like 10 years after the first Superman came out, it looked dated.
Yeah.
I can watch this 11 years later, and I'm like, this
most
looks
of it was
really
practical
good.
effects though for that movie, wasn't
Oh
it?
yeah, John
Favreau.
Favreau. And I love the story that apparently there wasn't even a script done for this movie.
Really?
Yeah, the script wasn't done. They sat down and like a lot of the scenes with the back and forth with Robert Downey Jr. and God, who's the guy who played Obadiah Stane?
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. A lot of that was improv.
Really?
That's
awesome.
Was apparently Jon Favreau was writing script pages while they were filming. Anyway, then we go to Winter Soldier. Absolutely love it. I think it's
a great movie.
Besides the top one, it's the best movie any of these motherfuckers have made. I think it's absolutely outstanding. It's absolutely amazing, and it's one of those movies that is not just superhero movie. It transcends that genre of film. And
was that the first one the Russo brothers did by themselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the very first one.
Okay.
They did it all. Then the last one is the first Avengers film, which brought all those characters together for the very first time. I remember being in that film and seeing the helicarrier come up from the water, and I cried.
Did you really?
I cried. I remember a tear came down my face, and the person next to me was like, they were like, "Are you crying?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, "It's so fucking beautiful." Because as a kid, me and my cousin used to have the helicarrier toy, and we'd play with it. So it was just this different experience seeing that brought to the big
right
screen.
out of the water.
Exactly. And I was just it was. Sorry, I know it probably took a bit, but go ahead.
No, definitely. No, that's all good, man. Let me bring up mine right here. Now mine's definitely a bit different than yours.
Okay. It's very different.
Very different.
Hold up. Is there a way you can throw mine to the other one?
Is
that possible? Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be able to show it on the stream, but
that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. I just want to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring this one up. Shit, wrong one. Here, boom, bam. Right over here.
Okay, perfect.
Right there, and then right there.
Okay, cool. Because I just want to kind of compare these.
So I have. So I'm gonna go with my number 22. I never saw Thor: The Dark World. So I put it at the.
Wow, you never saw Thor: The Dark World?
I put it at the very bottom.
You lucky goose.
I never saw it.
Really? So you didn't see that going into, and that's a big movie for Infinity War or for Endgame.
Didn't want to watch it.
You not even after you
not
even
watch
it.
There was
You're right.
I went in and I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't, because that one really went in for their mothers. Like it really brought out the importance of the mothers like that. So, but I still felt the connection when I watched Endgame. When I was like, okay, you can tell Thor really loves his mom. Then I have the Hulk. It's one of those movies or whatever. Like how I did it. I mean, number 11 was Civil War. Was my, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But I don't need to see it again, sort of thing. I'm underneath there is where it's it's all right, whatever.
Man, our bottom lists are very.
They're pretty similar.
They're pretty similar. The last couple.
Yes.
It's 3 out of 5 is our bottom 5, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we both have Hulk, Thor, and Guardians on there. Yep.
Which is a shame because I love Guardians of the Galaxy to death. The first one, as you can tell, it's my number 2. But that one just I don't know what it was. I saw it when I was in Boston, and so
Guardians, the first one?
The second one.
Oh, the second one.
I saw Guardians when I was in Boston, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, I don't really like this. I mean, it has a really cool thing that it has Kurt Russell as Ego and stuff like that, and it introduces the Celestials.
By the way, good job on this thing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It took me a long ass time.
Yeah.
I didn't really. I was like, it's all right. I mean, there's a lot of substance in there that I was like, yeah. I mean, it has a lot of stuff for the future of the Marvel universe. It brings out you learn about Star-Lord's past or lineage and stuff like that.
Which I felt was unnecessary.
Really? You felt like you needed to dive into that? It could have been a secret the entire time?
Yeah, I think it could have been a secret, or it could have been something cooler than that. It's I don't know, but I don't know.
So I have Iron Man 2. I enjoy Iron Man 2, but there's just parts I'm just whatever. What's his name? Mickey Rourke. I was just whatever, man.
He was so good. I love Mickey Rourke in Iron Man 2.
Okay.
I really did.
Captain Marvel, I enjoyed. I was just I don't know. I was typing this up last second. I really didn't get a chance to look this over again. But Captain Marvel, I really enjoyed. I just think that there were some of the music choices in the movie that didn't really stick the landing. Yeah. I hated that. There could have been so many different songs. You could have gone the cliche "A Bad Reputation," and I would have enjoyed it more than "I'm Just a Girl" by No Doubt. Right? No Doubt? Sure. Age of Ultron, I absolutely hated. It was, to me, it was a filler Avengers movie, dude.
Luckily, you don't hate it more than the other ones, though.
Yeah, definitely. No. Yeah, no. I definitely did not like Age of Ultron.
My thing is, I feel like it wasn't supposed to be a filler Avengers movie. Marvel made it a filler Avengers movie because that was the movie that broke Joss Whedon. Because
definitely, yeah.
He was like, I want to tell this story, and apparently he had to argue for the character development farm. For that whole thing, he had to argue for that. Because they didn't want to slow down the action. They were really worried about it. But he's like, but this is where I'm going to build up everybody's character.
Yeah, and set it up for Civil War also.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And Marvel was like, but like, can Thor go to the exposition pool then if they get the?
Which I was like, God damn. I remember walking out of that movie. I was super excited. Yeah. And then as soon as I got to the car, I was like, wait, that movie wasn't that good. And then I watched it again in theaters, and I was just like, it's a fun movie. I'll give you that. There's a lot of snarky stuff. There's just a bunch of weird things that I was like, there's a lot of things that are played for jokes, which obviously it's a Joss Whedon film, so it's gonna be like that. Like when like a car goes over the cliff and it starts falling down. Yeah. Thor, instead of taking him down where it's safe,
throws them
back up on top of Sokovia, so when it falls down, they're probably still fucking dead. Yeah. I'm also really salty that they killed off Quicksilver. That I was like, that would have been another.
I feel like they needed to.
Why? Because it was too similar to X-Men, or what?
Yeah. I feel like they couldn't have too many characters that were similar like that running around. But Avengers Age of Ultron does have one of the best Avengers scenes in the MCU.
Which one?
The party scene.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
And that scene is very, very important,
especially
to the payoff of Endgame. So, I want to give it that credit. It does have that.
Iron Man 3, I watched half of it. The end half of it, which is really cool because I didn't have to whatever the fuck. I was like, I still understood what was going on, but I love the action in that movie. Mm-hmm. How it's like he's out of the suit for most of the movie, and like it's mostly like his brain, like he has to figure out with little parts.
I like they took him back to the cave.
Definitely,
and I thought that was really, really cool.
Where it's like you have to like. Yeah, like he has a glove, and how can he use this one glove to end this sort of situation? Oh, I have to make shit. Yeah. You also meet God, what's the kid's name?
Harvey.
Yeah, you can meet Harvey and stuff like that, and it's like he's like, oh, my dad went to go get and I guess he won because he never came back, and he's like, Dad's leaving. Don't need to be a pussy about it. Anyways,
like here's what I need.
Yeah, and so that was super funny. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I did really enjoy. Okay. I love mostly all these movies except I would say. Age of Ultron down. I was just like, Age of Ultron down, I was like, ugh. But everything else above, I'm just like, I really, really enjoy this movie. Okay. Ant-Man and the Wasp was super funny. There's a lot of funny moments and stuff like that. But I don't think it was as good as the first Ant-Man. The Ant-Man had a lot more, I don't know. I just like Paul Rudd by himself a lot.
Definitely.
This one was more like you had Michelle Pfeiffer, you had Evangeline Lilly.
I feel like this is kind of where they start turning to a little bit of like, you know how everyone talks about like, oh man, the girl power scene in Infinity War and Endgame. They were kind of forced. The most girl power anything that was forced was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's where that started, I feel.
With what? With Ghost or?
The Wasp and Ghost. And there were parts where Ant-Man, I was like, are you an idiot? Like, this guy fought with Captain America and Iron Man. He pulled off a heist by himself. And in this movie, he's like getting knocked out every 4 goddamn seconds.
And it's Evangeline Lilly there to clean up the mess.
Exactly. Like all of a sudden, he's inept. And in the first movie, he breaks into Hank Pym, one of the smartest men in the world, breaks into his house, does the fucking thing to do the locks and all that.
Well, he kind of lets him break into the house.
He does, but the point is it shows Scott's ingenuity and how smart he actually is. No. Like he's smart with that, but he's dumb in other things. And in this movie, he was just a bumbling idiot. It's like what they did with Drax in Guardians 1, where he was like kind of like didn't understand sarcasm, and in Guardians 2, he's an idiot.
Yeah. He's dumb.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then Black Panther, I liked. I was just like, okay, I don't need to watch Black Panther again. And it's it's definitely not. It's not. It's
I bet you'd watch again if it was just Panther.
I hate you. I do like. God, I'm forgetting all these actors on the spot.
Chadwick Boseman.
No.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan's a really great villain. I love him. He has super. One of my favorite shots in the entire MCU is when he's walking into the throne room and it's the upside down shot. Yeah. And I was like, that is an amazing shot because it just shows how the entire world is flipping upside down.
Another great actor in that movie that people don't give a whole lot of credit for is Forrest Whitaker's eye.
I would say Forrest Whitaker?
No, his eye. Because good job, eye, for staying open. Because you look like you're always going to go down. I'm happy for you that you did it. Go ahead.
But I kind of wish with Black Panther that it was a prequel to Civil War. Because I feel like Black Panther has such a great story in Civil War where, like, his dad dies, and so he has to become the man, whoever. And then it kind of just repeats the same storyline in this one. It's like, what kind of king am I going to become? And stuff like that, where it's like...
Well, I think what happens is, and to me, how I see it, is in Civil War... And again, I'm not trying to defend Civil War because I think Civil War is not as good as people think it is. But I think in Civil War, he kind of has to deal with the fact where he's like, oh, hey, now I've got to stop being a boy, stop being vindictive. I've got to do me. But in his movie, it's what version of me am I going to be? You know, that's kind of how I see it. You can close mine out.
Oh, so you can see it?
Yeah, no, we're good.
I just want to double check. Let's see. Then the next one I have is Thor.
Oh, the first Thor.
The first Thor. Yeah, there you
go.
Okay. Like I said, I mean, I guess it kind of hit it right there where it's like it's the best they could have done for Thor.
Yeah.
Where it's a good movie, but it's not the best.
Yeah.
They're super funny. It is a fish out of water movie. And Thor came out before Captain America, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Or it's like, cause I mean, yeah, I mean, like it just
because Captain America was 20.
Because Avengers was 2012, 20.
Yeah, Thor and Captain America were both 2011.
2011. Okay. I don't know. It was really good, and like they kind of do the fish out of water thing with Captain America right after him. So I mean, it was good that they kind of got to fish out of water first with him.
Exactly, because they kind of had to do it. With,
definitely.
Yeah, I feel
because it's like him, like it's him finding out if he's still worthy or not for like with that. Which they kind of get back into in Endgame and stuff. Let's see.
I didn't even think about that. That's a great full circle moment for Thor.
I mean, like, were you the one that told me about that? Where it's like he's the only character that never rests.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Well, I was telling you how Willie brought that to my attention.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes all the sense.
Definitely.
Like, I'm okay with him being Fat Thor.
So yeah. Ant-Man, kind of went over it with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really enjoyed it. He's a smart guy, super funny. I love Paul Rudd, charming dude. Civil War. Good movie, but it's definitely my middle point where it's like I don't need to watch Civil War again. If it's on, I might sit down and watch it like that. But it's not one that I would dedicate my full attention to. The only thing I love this movie for, it is like the 10 minutes that Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah.
And it's like that is what makes that movie. Like I honestly like when it first came out on like digital and like on Netflix and stuff like that. I skipped through all the beginning part, got to just the Tony Stark and Spider-Man part, skipped through all of it to the airport scene. And then I just stopped watching it. Cause like those are like the two best parts of that movie.
Yeah.
Where it just shows like, hey, this is possible. Like we can actually like have Spider-Man into this MCU universe and stuff like that. And it's not awkward. I remember when I first saw the trailer for Civil War, I was super worried about it. Cause I didn't like the suit. I didn't like anything. And then watching it, I was like, okay, no, this is.
Well, because the trailer comes off super awkward.
Super weird.
You know, because all of a sudden it's very jarring. Like it's like, hey everyone, like it was like a.
There was less charm in the trailer than there was in the movie.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's like, hey, everyone, how you doing? Cap, loves whatever. Like, you know, there's jokes and stuff like that, but in the trailer, just, hey, everyone.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. Like, we're going to go from boring Andrew Garfield to boring Tom Holland.
Yeah.
But he just came into his own. And, First Avenger, I really love the beginning and the end of the First Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the First Avenger is amazing. It has a great end scene where it's the I had a date, and it makes full circle to the end of the end game where it has him dancing. I love that. Doctor Strange, I really do like because it's pretty. That's basically it. That's the only reason why I like it. Number 8 is Avengers. I really like the Avengers. Like you said, because it's the first time you really see everyone together. But I don't think it does it the best. Obviously, because
really,
I do think that.
Well, you know,
we're all allowed to have wrong opinions.
Can't all be smart.
Winter Soldier. I saw Winter Soldier for the first time about a month ago. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But this is like my top 7 are like the ones I was like, God, I don't know how to like fit any of these top 7 in there.
Yeah.
But I knew for sure that Winter Soldier was definitely going to be up there. I love that it's the Bucky storyline and stuff like that.
When I saw that movie, I wish I didn't know anything about the Winter Soldier. Did you know anything about the Winter Soldier going into it?
I knew that it was Bucky. That's
okay.
it. So
I knew quite a bit about the Winter Soldier, and I remember me and Willie I remember we saw that movie, and we obviously knew who the Winter Soldier was. It wasn't a big surprise to us. And but the part where he knocks off Bucky's mask, and you see that it's Bucky, I remember there was a woman like a row or two behind me, and I wish I was her in that moment. Because she dead ass went, oh, and the woman next to her goes, what? And she goes, that's his best friend. He thought he was dead. And I was like, wow. Like, I wish I could have been her. She was so excited. And I was like, damn. Wish that was me. Go ahead.
Thor Ragnarok. I spelled Ragnarok wrong. Idiot. Oh my God, I love that movie so much. And I watched that movie during a class at school. Because everyone was telling me, like, you need to watch Thor Ragnarok, you need to watch Thor Ragnarok, you need to watch Thor Ragnarok. And I was like, I'm not paying attention to this class. I watched Thor Ragnarok instead. And this movie is so good that I hadn't...
Have you watched it on a screen since?
I have. Okay. I put it on a big screen afterwards. Okay. This movie is so good that I was watching...
You just don't have a good track record with Thor movies. You're like, like out of the Thor trilogy, you're like... You're like 0 and 3. I've fully seen one of them.
It was like this movie's so good that on my laptop, the dude that was sitting right next to me, he was like the entire thing. So I put the subtitles on, and literally me and him never talked to do before in my life. We're just slouching, just like, and he was still laughing with just the subtitles on. Like that's how good it is.
And Chris Hemsworth and all them are just so great at emoting and making that movie what it is.
And Tessa Thompson, I love her so much. Like she's amazing in that movie. She's a beautiful woman, and I'm super excited for her to be the next king of Asgard. Spider-Man Homecoming, I love Spider-Man. I'm trying to get through this real fast, sorry.
No,
Spider-Man Homecoming, I love really, really much. I think it's a really great one. I do think that Spider-Man movies are Into the Spider-Verse, Homecoming, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 3, and then Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 can go fuck themselves.
So you think Homecoming is above Spider-Man 2?
Definitely. I love Homecoming.
Okay. Which arm?
Huh?
Which arm?
This one right here.
Are
you gonna hit it?
That one?
Yeah.
That one? Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm good. All right. Avengers Endgame, I really like it a lot.
I like how I just openly abused you
I know.
on stream.
No big deal. I really like Endgame a lot. I don't think it has enough substance as Infinity War. Infinity War is definitely by far the better movie, I think. Just story-wise, and it handles a lot of characters really well. Well, Endgame had a lot fewer characters, I think.
Yeah.
And then Guardians Volume 1, I love that movie to death. It's like you said earlier, it's the first one that they just like, fuck it. Like, do whatever you want. And I remember I worked at the movie theater for this one. I saw the trailer on the big screen, and I was like, I don't know how this movie's gonna go. It's super weird. There's a raccoon, there's a tree. What the hell is going on? And I saw that movie 8 times in the theater.
Shit.
I worked in the movie theater, so it's a free. But I remember I got off.
Fake fan.
I remember I got off my shift and I was like, "Can you get me tickets to go see this movie on opening day?" And they were like, "There's one seat left. It's yours." And I was like, "Bet." So I sat in like the back left corner, like one of the worst views ever,
God.
and I still thoroughly enjoyed that movie. But anyways, that's the end of that. So yeah, I'm gonna post these later on Twitter tonight, guys. So if y'all guys want to let us know what y'all guys think about our rankings and tell us how wrong we are, if we are. But yeah, that's our long spiel about that.
Yes. Well, Robert, there's more news.
There's a lot more news besides
that's come out. And this is, I would say personally, the next bit of news is my favorite bit of news.
And what news is that, Alex?
Because out of all of the superheroes and all of the comic book stuff and everything,
that one here.
Yeah.
That boy right there.
Out of everything that's come out, the thing that I love more, Robert, in life, I love 2 things.
All right.
Okay. I love chili dogs
Uh-huh.
and going fast.
I hate you so much.
So obviously, I love nothing more than my boy Sonic the Hedgehog. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a very amazing trailer dropped.
I'm definitely gonna pull this up right now
for Sonic the Hedgehog, and man, Remember when we saw Joaquin Phoenix's Joker trailer?
Definitely.
And we just were like Oscar worthy right here. Like, amazing. Beautiful. That's what I'm looking at right here. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Look at you see James Marsden. What's the first thing that comes into your head? Quality filmmaking.
Definitely.
That's the first thing that pops into my head.
SpaghettiOs around the.
Guarantee you. Yeah. And look, Sega. When has Sega ever put out a Sonic product that's bad? Never. So I'm excited. Look at this. He's going through shoes and shit. He's playing music. Look
Gangster's Paradise is playing, bro.
Look at him. Oh man, he's look. Oh, he's run. Look at him. Look at him. I've never been so excited to see a character that looks nothing like the character that he's supposed to fucking look like.
But it's so good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the good parts. Oh, look, this is so dope. It's so dope. Look what we have.
Yeah, bring it back.
We got Jim Carrey. He's right here.
Which I
And
love.
who is he playing? Ace Finch. I mean, Dr. Robotnik. Which is just as bad. Look at this. Look at this.
I love that mustache so much.
He looks so fucking terrible. And I'm so sorry, Jim, that this is the movie
Is that
had
Riz
to be in.
Ahmed?
Is it? If he is, get out of
Oh,
here.
no, it's not
it's
Riz Ahmed,
not.
no.
You're racist. Look, in November, I'm excited during the holiday season. Again, James Marsden, quality acting, quality content. Look at Sonic. Look how not like anything that I've ever seen in my life he looks.
God, this is
Looks
ugly. This is
so
ugly.
good. Look at him.
Ugly.
Man.
Terrible. This is god awful.
Look at this Smurf quality production. Oh man, I've seen this scene. It worked really well in X-Men Origins Wolverine, so I can guarantee it's gonna work even better in this film right here. Look at that. Ooh, look, he's got Hot Wheels and shit. Oh man, look at Jim Carrey.
All right, let's talk a little serious.
Getting into his bestiality right here. No, hey.
Oh, yeah.
I'm enjoying my trailer. Look at him.
Just
God,
lick that? Is he?
He wants to blow Sonic so hard. Look,
What the
Sonic's
fuck with the
throwing
ring?
rings that teleport shit, like we know Sonic does. That's
Has a
It's
genesis.
a Sonic thing. Look at this, and their cute little things. Man, look. Oh man, this is
God,
exactly what Sonic would do. If there's one thing I know Sonic for,
What?
it's Transformers quality explosions. And God, look. Oh, here's my favorite part. Don't you love it when in an animated film where they have to CGI someone or an animated figure next to a real figure, my favorite thing is when they don't show it so they don't have to fucking animate it. I love it. It's my favorite. You know what's the best part about having a job as an animator? We don't got to do your fucking job. Oh, look. Cool. He looks like that. That's dope. Guess what? Nobody gives a shit. Do you watch Always Open?
I do.
Oh, dope. I love Always Open.
Hey, bro.
Always Open's my favorite. So Robert, I'll speak seriously.
All right.
For a moment here. This looks like fucking garbage. And I know we're a little late to the party because everyone said it looks like garbage.
Yeah. But we had Endgame to talk about. So.
But yeah, we had more important things. And as much as I love chili dogs and going fast, as my gut tells you, I don't do those things often. So I do one of those things often, and I'm all out of running fast. He looks so bad. He looks nothing like Sonic. I'm trying to. I can't even come up with a joke of like, oh, he looks like I can't even pull an early 2000s Adam Sandler where he just makes jokes about other things, referring to just says a pop culture reference, because he doesn't look like anything. He just looks scary. He looks like a Smurf that was on cocaine, and that I can't even finish it. I don't know. I'm just so upset. He looks terrible. It looks really bad. This looks terrible. Jim Carrey looks like he thought he was like making the Dora Explorer movie, and he was the bad guy.
Excited about.
Look at.
So as much crap as we're getting it, I'm definitely seeing this movie. I'm definitely seeing. Because sometimes you just gotta hate yourself, like sometimes you gotta put yourself.
I'm seeing it too.
That's my man. So honestly, so what the real story about this is that they over the past week they announced that they're redesigning Sonic, which is fun. I mean, everyone's been making fun of it since we first saw the very first teaser poster, which is just the legs and the Golden Gate Bridge. Hashtag bring me Sonic Stick. It's just
Black Panther's like, and get this man a dick.
But yeah, I mean, this movie, it does look terrible, and it's going to be terrible. even if you redesign Sonic, it's not gonna look good. It looks terrible. It's not gonna be good. I've seen people that like there's this thing on Twitter that people were like, oh, I can design a better Sonic than this. And they did. They made Sonic look a lot better. So finally the director's like, we get it. We hear you. We're going to change how Sonic looks like, which is good. That's perfectly fine because, I mean, I have no problem with this marketing or whatever. That looks fine. But just literally the movie just looks like utter
This is the best part of the
garbage.
trailer. You know why?
Why?
Because, like, there's no Sonic. There's no running. There's no Robotnik. It's just James Marsden looking like he thinks he's still not Tangled and Enchanted. God, he's such a terrible actor. He was good as Cyclops, and then he was good at... Actually, to be fair, he wasn't even good as Cyclops. Cyclops had no... Go back and watch those movies if you remember liking Cyclops. No, you don't. Cyclops was a was a wooden board in the first movie, and then he was knocked out for most of the second movie. And then they went like, you know what, we're going to murder him in the third movie. And guess what? None of you fuckers noticed. Nobody cared.
It was okay. They brought him back in Days of Future Past. So that's all that matters. But yeah, man, I don't know. I like, as much as I'm going to see this movie, like no matter what, I'm gonna dedicate at least an hour and a half to watch this terrible movie. It looks like it's marketed towards, you know, our generation or even older, like actual millennials.
That's my thing. It doesn't look like it's marketed towards kids, and I think I would have forgiven it more. Like the Pokemon movie looks like it's being marketed towards kids.
Definitely.
So like if it's not this great, you know, swan song of Oscar-worthy Pokemon movie, I don't care. Pokemon in general isn't supposed to be that, but I get really annoyed at the potentiality of it being made for this generation, for our generation, people like me and you, people who more like grew up with like the more early 2000s versions of Sonic, and now this is what we get, and we're just getting shit on because it looks like garbage. It looks terrible.
Like you don't think that they would put every hero has a Genesis because kids nowadays would be like, "That what's the joke?
Exactly.
Like what's the reference?"
Exactly.
It's like they're talking about the Sega Genesis, you know, and stuff like that. It's just I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm going to watch the movie. I'm gonna be a sucker. I'll be there probably opening night.
Yeah.
And
here's the part I'm upset about.
What's up?
Sonic is lucky because the internet saw him and went, "No, we're not. That's not gonna happen."
No.
What about the end of the movie? Because in the trailer, it talks about how he's from like a different world or whatever.
Yeah.
What happens at the end of the movie when he goes back to his world? Because at the end, when Robotnik is there, he's in Sonic's world.
Yeah.
You can see the mushrooms and shit behind him.
Yeah.
Or like the weird landscape. What happens when we see Knuckles and Tails and shit? And the internet didn't get to save them.
Did you see
the internet didn't get to be there.
Did you see the pictures of like the the stuffed fox and like everyone's like it's Tails?
No,
I've never seen it. I'll pull it up right now.
No, tell me.
It's hilarious. All right, Tails Sonic movie.
I don't know. I'm offended. I know Willie, my brother and I were big fans of Sonic growing up. I know Willie ended up being. Oh no!
Which isn't real. This isn't real.
I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's just hilarious. That like everyone's like,
Absolutely
and this is Tails.
Amazing. Can you save that?
I can
for our Twitter post later.
Definitely can. All right. Just put Tails. All right. But let's
like, Robert, your Tails file is too full.
All right,
Too many photos of Tails.
I mean, I'm done saying what I have to say about
it
this
just looks
movie.
like shit.
It
just looks like shit.
I don't know. Yeah, literally, I don't know what else.
Looks
to
like
say about
utter fucking garbage. Let's go over the next trailer before we get to a news story that I actually care about.
All right. Let me put the fucking thing down here.
I see. Can they see you dragging it like that?
No, they can't.
Oh,
We're
okay,
good. No,
cool.
we're fine. Don't worry about it.
I was like, people are just like, wow, look at Robert just fucking. What is that?
No, don't worry about it.
What is
we're fine.
that?
It's smiley
Okay,
face.
cool. So
Anyways.
the next story is the Watchmen trailer came out. It's an HBO series, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's an HBO series. I don't know how many episodes it's gonna be, or like, is it gonna be a miniseries? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
I don't know if it takes place before the Watchmen comic. I don't know if it takes place after the Watchmen comic. It feels like it takes place before. I don't know. You know what? Robert, you vamp for a second, and I'm gonna figure out.
Look it up. Honestly, Alex, when I saw this, so honestly, I have no idea anything about the Watchmen. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't learned.
Love it, avid fan.
I hear it's really super good, but the movie did it like super dirty.
Only good thing Zack Snyder's done, honestly.
Really?
It is the best comic.
300, bro.
It is the best comic representation in film.
Really?
It's verbatim the same thing, except for the very end. because Zack Snyder didn't want to do the stupid ass tentacle monster. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, so I mean, like, I had no idea anything about the Watchmen, and like when I was making the stuff for tonight, because I'm a last minute piece of shit, I was just there and I was like, I have literally no idea what the fuck is going on. And like, I know that's Watchmen and that's gonna be good, or it's supposed to be good, and it has like a really interesting concept, and it's like one of the first comic book adaptations that came to film. But I honestly have no idea what the fuck is going on. I know like Dr. Manhattan, that's a guy, right?
It is indeed a guy.
That's a dude. Let's see. There's the owl guy. Then you got what's the owl's name?
Ooh, Night Owl.
Night Owl.
Wait, is it Night Owl? Yeah, I think it's Night Owl. Jeremy Irons, right? That was Jeremy Irons in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's playing Ozymandias.
Cool. Who's that?
You don't know that?
No.
Ozymandias is a big character from the Watchmen show.
Okay.
And he's younger.
Okay.
So this is older. So
Okay.
this clearly happens after. There are only two things we know for sure about the Watchmen series. First, it's an extension of the original story. It's not an adaptation, so it's going to continue. Second, it's set in the present day.
Okay.
So this does take place
After
the Cold War, which is when the original Watchmen took place. So the original Watchmen takes place in the 1980s, and then this one happens in present day. So this does happen after the initial Watchmen.
Okay.
So that kind of does make sense from what I've seen. And I'm just... It looks like... So the original story of Watchmen, for those of you who aren't familiar, essentially superheroes used to be a real thing, but it was in a more real-world setting. They didn't have superpowers like how we know superheroes. There was only one that had superpowers, and it was Dr. Manhattan. Now, these characters were a superhero team that would help people, and then their powers went unchecked, so they kind of all stopped being superheroes to appease the government.
Okay.
Because people were uprising and all this other shit. It's very interesting. I'm not explaining it well at all, I know. But essentially the story of Watchmen is one of the heroes from the old Watchmen team gets killed.
Okay.
And Rorschach, who is the dude with the face, the ones that they're kind of doing an homage to in this trailer. He goes after and hunts down the killer for that, which leads to this big conspiracy of superheroes and the government and world peace and everything. It's very ridiculous and big. It's a great story. But so this looks like it's taking place after that. It looks like we're clearly getting superheroes back in some capacity. So it's very interesting to me. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it exactly. But, I mean, the trailer didn't necessarily get me excited. It just more had me going like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I saw that.
It's a property that like a lot of people know, but not a lot of people are like
know about it.
Yeah, they're like, I know, like I saw reactions like, okay, like that's a little bit like it's HBO is looking for something to pick up the slack when Game of Thrones is done.
Yeah.
And they I don't think they found it at all. I mean, like they're putting out Watchmen. They have Westworld out right now.
Yeah.
Which is
there are certain things, like there are certain properties that people know
mm-hmm.
about but don't know about. You know what I mean? Like they know of them. Like there are people that like know like, oh, Death Note's a thing, and you're like,
yeah,
tell me the story of Death Note, and they're like, okay. Like everyone knows everyone knows that Freddy Krueger's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Half the people don't know the story of Freddy Krueger. My favorite one is like all the Mexicans, were us San Antonio people, who have their Scarface blankets and all that, and their pictures and their T-shirts and their chains and all that. And half those motherfuckers have never seen Scarface.
And they're like, yeah, say hello to my little friend, right? You're like, yeah. That's a line.
That's how it goes. that is a line in the film. Name another one. Hello. And they're like, yeah, that was most likely said.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Nailed it.
Anyway, it's one of those things where, like, it happened. Okay.
Do you think that this show is going to have a big enough reaction for it to be successful?
I'll be honest. I'm wondering when this fatigue is going to set in. The superhero fatigue. Because Gotham just ended. Even the fans of Gotham did not like the ending of Gotham. Did you see the ending of Gotham?
I did not.
I went out just to watch the final clips of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like utter garbage. Looked really bad. They finally showed Batman and all that.
Yeah.
Worst on-screen Batman
really
I've ever seen in my life.
I'm gonna look this up
I'll take bat nipples any day of the week.
Gotham Gotham.
God, it looks so.
How many years did Gotham encompass?
Put Gotham finale.
Oh fuck! I thought it was there. Finale. Final season. You fucking.
Damn. Just put in Gotham finale.
There.
Okay. See if the thing will pop up on YouTube. Go to videos. So.
First looks, images, blah blah blah.
Damn it. You just done it on YouTube.
Alright.
Just go to. But yeah. So. And then Arrow's gonna be ending soon. I know but CW's still starting that Batwoman series. Did you see that?
With
a trailer.
Ruby Rose?
Yeah, and it just I'm not excited for it. Oh yeah, look.
5 minutes long.
Look at this. Go, keep going. Keep it going. Right there.
Right here?
A little before. Oh no, you're good.
Oh fuck.
Sorry.
I'll do it right here.
Yeah, show the stream. The stream. They're so look, they're like, who is that? I don't know. Who is that? And then you're like, what the fuck's going on? They're like, he's a friend. It looks so a friend. Look at this. It looks so garbage. It looks so bad. It looks so shitty.
They can see him from all the way up there. What the fuck?
Look at me.
What the fuck?
It looks like utter garbage. Look at that. Doesn't even look like Batman. It looked like Edward Scissorhands with his mask on.
That was the last scene of the entire show.
That was the last scene of the entire show. That's how it ended. There are Batman fans that watched that shit till it ended. Me and Willie, I remember, watched the first couples. He might have watched more of it, but I remember I watched the first couple episodes of the first season, and it was all right. But apparently, it just went all off the rails. Anyway, but my point is, I don't know when the superhero fatigue is gonna set in. I don't know if people are gonna respond to this and even like this. Kind of not excited for it, to be honest with you. I'm gonna watch it, but from what I've seen, I don't have high hopes for it. I feel like it's a property they need to go out of their way a little bit more to get us excited about. You know, like we need small scenes dropped or something.
Speaking of superhero fatigue and more superhero stuff, something we kind of dropped in a little earlier. I don't know if they're gonna be able to see this, but honestly, who gives a shit at this point? Because it's at that point with this goddamn movie, the New Mutants.
What do you feel about the New Mutants, Robert? What do you feel about it?
I could care less about at this point. I want Fox to stop.
Fox needs to be stopped.
Stop.
Remember when I told you that you reminded me of that YouTuber I'm Alex earlier? Yeah. A lot of his videos are so and so needs to be stopped. So right now you're like, Fox needs to stop.
They need to stop. I mean, like at this, they've had New Mutants. They said it was completed. It was done. It was a done movie. It was finished. It was supposed to premiere this year, wasn't it? Like October?
No, it was supposed to. No, my young man. It was supposed to premiere at the end of last year, wasn't it, Willie? New Mutants? Wasn't New Mutants supposed to be last year? And then they moved it to the beginning of this year, then mid this year, and then the end of this year.
April 2020.
And now it's next year.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, like you said that this movie's been completed multiple times.
So literally, it's been pushed back for 2 years at this point. Oh my God. 2 years. It's gonna be pushed back.
But that's the same thing that happened with Kingsman. I think it was pushed back a year. But Kingsman was a better movie.
Which one?
Which first one? The
okay, I was about to say. Second one makes sense.
No, the first Kingman was pushed back a year.
The first Kingman.
I hate you.
The first Kingman.
But I mean, like at this point, it's an interesting twist with New Mutants. They say it's gonna be a horror movie, mostly a horror movie.
I'm fucking over it. Like,
yeah, honestly,
when it came out, if they would have been so. Here's the thing: I always base any trailers and media off of. Is I think the best thing to ever do it was Fallout 4. How Fallout 4 released, because they went like, oh, hey, we're at E3. Check out Fallout 4 shit. By the way, you can download supplemental content, the Vault game on your phone, whatever it's called. Fallout Shelter.
Yeah.
And like, also, you get this in 3 months. So it kills me when a movie studio goes, here's something new and exciting. Like the Spider-Man trailer, perfect example. Like, here's a new and exciting trailer to get you hyped for it. You see it in a month, motherfucker. Like, it's almost here. And then now, so, like, we're going to be riding that hype. New Mutants went totally new X-Men film. We're taking a totally different perspective. It's a horror movie. And when it came out, everybody was excited. I was excited about that. Everybody was like, this is so dope. And they're like, but you're not going to get it for 6 months. And you're like, okay, fine. And they're like, sorry, you're not gonna get it for 12 months. So it's like, okay, cool. You know,
not gonna get it till 2020
for 18 months. Like, all right.
Have they released a trailer for this movie?
Yes, they released one trailer. It was such a nothing trailer.
No.
Was
it a teaser or was it a trailer?
Was it a trailer or a teaser, Willie?
I think it was a trailer. I think it was just a zoom up on Maisie Williams' face and she's
No. There are different scenes.
Really?
It did show some scenes, but they went back for reshoots because apparently there were some parts that were too scary. Is what I remember seeing. Is they were trying to make it PG-13 and they were writing a line of it being more than that. So they went back to rework it. And then the Disney Fox still happened, which pushed it back. And then now that Disney Fox still is done, now it's no longer Fox pushing it back. Now Disney has pushed it back. And I'll be honest at this point.
Cancel it.
I think take the dive. Put it out on fucking Netflix, and if you want to wait, put it out on your streaming service.
Yeah, put it on Disney Plus. Who cares?
I don't know if you can do that because it's like a scary movie or whatever, but put it out. Like, just release it because at this point, you're just setting everybody up to be disappointed. We're already going to be butt fucked by Dark Phoenix, so nobody cares. Nobody's going to care. And I don't care if that kid was in Stranger Things. Nobody gives a shit anymore. Stranger Things is over. Again, it's like they did everything for 2 years ago. Like, they went like, it's a horror movie, which was big 2 years ago when It and everything was coming out. You know what I mean? And maybe they're moving it because now that the next It is coming out, they're like, oh, maybe we can catch the hype again. But, like, It was coming out. Stranger Things was coming out. One of the main actors in this is the brother from Stranger Things. So they're like, we'll ride this wave of these young actors being at the top of their game. And they're like, but then we'll ride the wave for 2 years. It's not how it works.
I don't know. It's like just either one, put it out. Like you said, on their Disney Plus, whatever.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Do it, whatever. Who cares? Or just cancel it.
I think just put it on Netflix. Honestly, at this point, like make it Disney's like last hurrah before they move everything to their other platform. Like just like be like, hey, let's just get this shit out. Like, let's just
this thing that we didn't make. Honestly, let's just fucking skedaddle.
What was that?
That was like this thing we didn't make.
This thing that we didn't make. Yeah, and I mean, would anyone really be upset though?
I don't think so.
If they went like, we're just canceling it, I think the only people that would be upset would be Disney that went, oh no, we lost however many, like $2 million it cost to make this movie. By the way, has Avengers surpassed Avatar yet? Like, I'm worried about the $2 million we might have lost. Like, whatever.
Which is crazy that it did that in like 11 days.
Has it surpassed it yet? I don't think so.
No, I haven't seen any headlines.
I think it's on track to surpass it.
Yeah.
But
I think it was still like 500 million behind, but like it's gonna do it.
It'll do it. Black Panther kept doing that for weeks. So
yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
But last but not least, the most interesting and I think, just the most interesting and most like unfortunate thing, is the Riot news out of Riot Games. It's so this past weekend, correct?
Yes, this past weekend.
Actually, I think it was like a couple of days ago.
It was so there were already things happening for.
They announced it 2 weeks ago. There was rumors about it.
Yeah, well, so there have already been. We're talking about the walkout that happened at Riot Game Studios, but there were already a lot of people in the industry upset. Not even over particularly what this was about, more about working hours and everything. So that's been like a industry-wide epidemic that's been happening.
EA happened at Epic. It happened, like
it's been coming to light a lot, and even bigger studios like Rockstar are barely dodging it. Even NetherRealms, like as Mortal Kombat 11 came out, everybody was like, and I feel like NetherRealms and Rockstar are better at like kind of controlling that.
Yeah.
But these studios they don't have like that granddaddy power that these other guys have. They're getting shit on hard right now for those things. But now it's come to what we're talking about now.
So necessarily, this one isn't mostly about the hours. This one upgraded to mandatory arbitration.
Yeah.
So mandatory arbitration is that you don't litigate, which means you don't go in front of a jury, you don't go in front of a judge. You have one person that's in between both of y'all guys to settle disagreements or whatever. And that the reason that so there's two lawsuits that two employees have put upon Riot about the COO and like one other person I don't remember.
One of the forms of management.
Yeah, one of the forms of management that either been saying sexist comments or that have not been paying them as much as the males or counterparts.
Essentially, there's a lot of sexism going on, and I think was there harassment?
There was some harassment as
And
coming from the COO, I think that's the harassment.
Definitely, and I think the issue was they were reporting it and they felt like they weren't getting heard,
and
then 2, the people that again like because it was the head guy, and then there were some of the other management positions that were getting complained about, and nothing was happening.
So finally 2 weeks ago, there were rumors that like, oh, we're gonna have a riot. Some people are gonna walk out during the it's called the Riot Unplugged meeting that they have every week. Or every 2 weeks. And so instead of going to this meeting, a bunch of people just walked out and they're like, we're not doing this. We're not going to the meeting. We're not going to work until you hear us. And there are different, really great signs. I think of like one person's put down on the sign, I reported he got promoted. That's like, it's just like has a really big impact of like what's going on in that sort of situation. And that, I think Riot did. It's gonna sound terrible, but they did a really good job of lessening the blow of that. I don't know if you read their statement that they set out.
I had it relayed to me through some news sites that I was talking about or that I was reading, but
so basically one of them was like, "Don't worry, we're letting them do it. Like if it escalates to a certain level, there will be retaliation. But as of right now, every manager."
Oh yeah, they're kind of taking that high ground, like you know what? We're glad our employees are strong enough to do this, and we appreciate that they're putting their necks out like that for something they believe in. So that's dope of them. But at the same time, how do we know Riot's not like they're like
behind closed doors? You don't know what they're doing.
Exactly, and you don't know like what manager's coming back with like. Here are the names of everyone that's outside.
Yeah,
like you know,
and like one of the Monatan, I believe that's what her name was. That organized this event. She was like, "We're doing this for the people that didn't have the guts to go out and say what we're saying, or like people that were like that wanted to join, but like felt like they were going to be retaliated against." But like that statement to me kind of lessened the blow of like the importance of the situation, where it's like, yeah, don't worry, like we're letting them have it, we're doing this or whatever. It's super nice that they're like, we're not going to like do anything.
But it's the perfect political thing to do.
Definitely.
Like it's like
we agree, we understand things are happening. We've said that we're going to remove forced arbitration from future contracts, and
they're talking about removing it from current contracts.
We're considering removing it from current contracts. And
no, well, they didn't say removing it. They said it was going to be optional now.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't say it was going to be taken out. It was going to be this is an optional thing.
Okay.
But you know what? I'm sure that's going to have a stipulation.
Definitely.
Like it's going to be like this is optional
if you've worked here for X amount of years or X amount of months or whatever.
Well, I think it'll be like this is optional if you want to do that. By the way, this is what your upgraded salary looks like in a year. Well, with arbitration, this is what it looks like without it. Like, I'm sure there'll be some shit like that, or like there's gonna be some incentive to do that because they want to cover their ass. That's the whole reason for it. But yeah.
But it's good to see that they're standing up for whatever they believe. What this right here, it's unfair, and that Riot has said that they've considered it, and with this consideration, I hope that something actually comes out of it, but I have a really bad feeling in my stomach that nothing is going to come out of it. Yeah. I mean, like, there's been nothing that's been done with Epic. There's been nothing that's been done with EA.
And unfortunately, as much as people are like, oh, yeah, look, these guys doing this great thing, there are loads of young game developers who are ready and waiting for their opportunity just to get in the door.
There was a tweet that I saw underneath one of the major things. Is like, as much as I hate this, he said, pardon me for this vulgar language, I would drag my dick through broken glass to work at Riot Games.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's one, ow. Two, like, I mean, it sucks that, like, people are just, like, in the industry, the entertainment industry overall, it's, like, it's so volatile. Like, it's, like you could lose everything.
That's why it's never going to change. There's always someone who's willing to work for less and do more than you are.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, is this what future game developers are going to be having to, having to just get used to? Like, are you going to have to go in knowing you're going to work 100-hour work weeks? Or are you going to have to go in knowing that, hey, like, it is mandatory arbitration, that it's like you can't go in front of a judge, can't have other people hear what you're saying, and it's like, basically it's the company saying this is what you're going to get for XYZ. If you have a problem, it's probably not going to get solved. And, like, if that's something that has to, I mean, that might scare some people away, and it might just, for the people that are going to continue to work there, it's going to be like, sorry, dude, that's what you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's what my saying about that. I don't know.
I mean, it's to me, as unfortunate as it sounds, I'm really of the mind where it's like, that's great that they're doing it. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I mean,
yeah.
How long have we been complaining about like the ridiculous like microtransactions that we have?
Yeah.
How long have people been complaining about getting games finished when they buy them? So things that the industry does, like things that it's supposed to do, it can't even do that.
Yeah.
You think that we're going to get to the nitty gritty, like behind the scenes shit? No, we can't even get the actual thing they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's like the equivalent of man, I wanna get pizza at Pizza Hut, but every time I order it, they only give me half a pizza. But you know what they should work on? How the employees feel. Like no one cares. I unfortunately, I mean, not that no one cares, but I think the people who are making decisions don't care. Nothing's gonna change.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna read a terrible story about one of two things is gonna happen. The company's gonna settle in some way and be like, you know what, we're gonna fix this. Here's your bonus, like something like that. Or we're gonna read about how people are either gonna get let go, or they're gonna have to or they're gonna start being like, oh, we're gonna
downsize.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's just what's gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well.
Luckily, though, if I know we're kind of about to end the podcast on a downer, but I just want to throw this out there. Look on the bright side of the games industry and game development. While we have this going on, it's really terrible, and it's something we wish we didn't have to deal with. At least we have quality games out there that we can play, like Fallout 76 and Anthem. And
they have great movies coming out, like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog, and so hopefully Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, obviously. They're going to bring in Shadow.
Yeah. And then let's say you want old media to go back and revisit, right? There are a lot of great films to go back to, like Thor: The Dark World.
Definitely.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah. Age of Ultron.
The Hannah Montana movie.
Get the limo out.
Shut the fuck up, Robert. We're ending the podcast. We're ending the podcast.
Hottest. All right, bye, guys. See ya.